And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I'm your pal, Dan L. This is my channel. And the other day I'm walking through the park. I find a little part of a spaceship. It has an imprint from Krypton, which is the home planet of Kal-El. Today's video is entitled The New Pandemic, Coronavirus 21. So let's get right into it. Gina Joy Carano, born April 16, 1982, is an American actress, television personality, fitness model, and former mixed martial artist. That's MMA for you folks at home. She competed in Elite XC and Strikeforce from 2006 to 2009, where she compiled a 7-1 record. Her popularity led to her being called the face of women's MMA, although Carano rejected this title. Carano and Chris Cyborg were the first women to headline a major MMA event during their 2009 Strikeforce bout. She retired from competition after her first professional defeat to Cyborg. That last sentence is kind of snarky. That's straight from Wikipedia. By the way, have you noticed lately on Wikipedia, seems like pretty much all the pages are getting locked. Certainly all the pages about personalities. Isn't that interesting? That because Wikipedia was an open source, it just anyone could go in there and correct a mistake on Wikipedia or add some facts that needed to be added to the page. Can't do that anymore. Just the elites are in charge of Wikipedia now that Facebook and other organizations are relying on them as the fact checkers. Anyway, let's get back to it. So you said, what's coronavirus 21? I know, I don't blame you. You should be confused by that. Coronavirus 21, the new pandemic, only affects people on the left. It's a threat to the left. It's not a threat to the centrists or the people on the right. Now, which is different from coronavirus 19, known as COVID-19. That is a threat to people on the right and in the center. Have you noticed though, COVID-19 is not a threat to people on the left? How do we know this? Because they all stopped wearing their mask. Have you been paying attention? Ever since Joe Biden walked into the White House, all of a sudden they don't need masks on the left. Those governors who made you wear masks, the mayors, the president, all these people wanting you to wear masks, and they're still telling you. All the people on the left who are running the show, they're still telling you you have to wear a mask, but they don't. And the Jen Psaki, the White House communications coordinator, whatever she's called. Anyway, she said, well, he's a little bit too busy. He's got other things to worry about than wearing a mask. So if a Republican's in the White House and their communications director says that, what's the reaction from the media? What's the reaction from the school system? What's the reaction from, the people, the powers that be? They're like, oh my God. What is he? He thinks he's immune from COVID-19. And by the way, Trump did get COVID-19. It didn't kill him. You know why? Because it's the flu, and the flu doesn't kill. Every year there's a flu season. Does everyone who gets the flu die? No, a teeny percentage of people who get the flu die, and those people are pre-existing conditions or they're really old or both. So anyway, so what coronavirus 21 is, which is the threat, which is the new pandemic, and it's a threat to the left, is independent thinking, factual thoughts, expressing facts, historical accuracy. This is all part of the coronavirus 21 pandemic. Let me explain. Gina Joy Carano, obviously a strong woman. And by the way, the left says, you know what, we empower women. No, they don't. The left, Gina Joy Carano is a strong woman, independent thinker. She's into self-determination. She wants to run her own life. But the point is, those women aren't welcome on the left. You have to be a victim. You have to be a weak woman. The left will only allow you in their club if you're a weak woman or a weak man, and they would prefer it be all weak women. So if you're a weak male and you're on the left, they would like you to morph into being a woman, a weak one. And you're like, well, that's so sexist. There's nothing sexist about it. No. If you are someone who's a false victim, you're weak. And the left is all about faux victimhood. And again, when they say they empower women, Gina Joy Carano, folks. She's a threat to them. She's a strong woman. Now, I don't know if she's going to capitulate, but what they did is they got her canceled. They got her fired from her Disney gig. She's been successful not just in MMA. She's been successful. You heard the description: actress, television personality, fitness model, etc. So she's got a lot of things going for her. She wants to decide for herself what her life is going to be like. She doesn't want someone to tell her what she has to think, what she has to say, what she has to do. She believes in freedom, self-determination, self-governance. That's what she believes in. And she's posted things which piss off the left. One of the things she posted was about divide and conquer, which was, she mentioned historically accurate. She was using logic, facts, historical accuracy, truth. And she said that before the Nazis in 1930s Germany could come drag Jews and gypsies and gays and anyone who wasn't part of the Aryan race, before they could drag those people out of their homes in 1930s Germany, first their neighbors had to turn on them. And she was drawing a comparison between, and I don't even think she used the word Democrat or even political left. All she was saying is, take a look at our society now. It's neighbor turning on neighbor, and they're being encouraged to. Take a look in places like California, where the governor says, I want you to call us and report your neighbor." It's not just California. Every state run by Democrats, all they do is tell you to turn in your neighbor, report them for their thought crimes, report them if they seem to be independent thinkers, report them if they seem to believe in self-autonomy. Report anyone who doesn't fulfill the faux narrative, the false narrative, the stupid narrative, the controlling narrative, the evil narrative of the left. If someone isn't touting the company line, which is the leftist line, that America is Nazi Germany, and there's the funny thing. The left keeps telling you America's Nazi. Well, they're working really hard to turn it into Nazi Germany, aren't they? It's interesting. They say we're so frightened because Trump's Adolf Hitler and we're turning into. If you paying attention, if you have your critical thinking skills switch flipped to the on position, and you're paying attention, all the things they say they are afraid of, they're doing those things. They're implementing them. Trump, not just Trump, but the people who also voted for Trump, the good people. And Trump was a good person, so are the voters for Trump. Those people, they actually do hate Nazi Germany. They do hate totalitarianism, and they do hate statist control. They do hate strong central authoritarian governments. That's all the left argues for. Is everything has to be, your life has to be micromanaged by the government in Washington, D.C. You can never become an adult. You have to have a mommy and a daddy, and that's called the federal government or the state or the county or the city. The government has to be your mommy and your dad. They're going to tell you when to go to sleep. They're going to tell you, what clothes you can buy, what foods you can eat. Remember in New York, well, you can't. There's certain soda pops you can't order. There's certain foods you can't have in the Democrat states. So all they do is they keep telling you, we people in the government, there's no limits on us, but you little people, you people who just vote, we're going to tell you all about the limits we're going to impose on you. And that is a big, big problem. Why is it a great big problem? Because just like in 2016, some of you people have decided to fight back, push back. They're not going to have that on the left. You don't get to push back. So the carano virus 21 is a threat to them because people might start becoming independent thinkers. They might start believing that the best way to live your life isn't as an adult with a perpetual mommy and daddy telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what to think, what to say. You're a grown up, and all these rights. Don't you have rights? Well, the left does. The left believes the government has lots of rights, but you don't. You are a you are property of the government. And that's the way they've always thought about you. And so she pointed out, and I don't know, I'm not on Twitter. I don't follow Gina Joy Carano's tweets, but I'm guessing because she's gotten canceled. Disney fired her. I'm guessing that she posts things which indicate that she can't be told what to think. Now, I doubt I doubt if her and I agree on everything, but hopefully she doesn't believe in the hive mind mentality of the left. That is, she believes I'm a strong woman, and as a strong woman, I'm going to think what I want to think. I'm going to assess things the way I want to. I'm going to use my critical thinking skills to look at the world I live in and make decisions based on my own critical thinking skills. She's going to analyze things and come up with her own either solutions or her own understanding. That's what it boils down to. You get to decide. You get to come to an understanding based on your logical critical thinking skills. They can't have that. You've got to be you've got to be weak, hyper emotional, dependent. You've got to be on your knees begging them for some gruel. That's what they want to. That's why the left is owned and run by rich people, because rich people, not all of them, but most of them, they want all of you folks who have to work for them to work for minimum wage, and that's what they want. That's why every corporation in America tells pretty much everyone you're going to start at minimum wage, but what they don't tell you is you're going to stay at minimum wage. And that's why people recently have been voting to raise the minimum wage, because they get what the scam is. The scam is, if for any of you people who somehow can make it on $8 an hour, we're going to import people from the third world who'll be happy at $4 an hour. Because we people who have private jets, helicopters, and yachts, that's not enough. It's like that scene in Wall Street. It's not enough to have one yacht, one helicopter, and one private jet. We have to have two private jets, two helicopters, and two yachts. And the only way to get there is if we go from paying you people $8 an hour to $4 an hour. And the only way we get there, and also by importing the third world, you create a divide in society. You have people biting at each other's necks. You have people clashing with each other, and that's what they want. They want constant anarchy among the proletariat, because that way you won't stop and say, "Wait a minute, my problem isn't my neighbor. My problem is the people who are making bad decisions way up there at the top, the puppet masters." So anyway, and also something else the right has been saying about Carano, which I don't like. People like Crowder and Paul Joseph Watson are saying, Gina Carano, good job. You didn't do it. She's done nothing wrong. Well, we shouldn't be putting it in that negative affirmation. We should have a positive affirmation. Um, yeah. Anyway, we shouldn't be saying you didn't do anything wrong. We should be saying you did something right. You go, Gina. Way to go. It's not about, well, she didn't do anything wrong and I'm going to defend her. It's about, she did something right and I'm going to praise her. That's what I'm doing right now on this channel. I'm saying to Gina Carano, what you did was brave, was strong, was, you were being human. The best, you were exhibiting the best part of the human race. You were being brave. You were being logical. You were being rational. You were being honest. You were part of objective reality. So when you were, people say, well, history's wrong because the winners write the history books. Well, yeah, the Allies after World War II, they did write history books and they were honest about it. They even included themselves. The Allies were self-critical, talking about the Versailles Treaty and how they should have done that differently. But if the history books had been written by the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan, what do you think the history books would look like if this planet was ruled? You can go watch The Man in the High Castle on Amazon Prime. Well, actually, I don't want you to spend money on Amazon. But if you watch The Man in the High Castle, you can have a little glimpse into what the world looks like if the Axis powers win. Because one of the great things about that TV show, and I watched all of it, um, was that it basically made it very clear that when you have evil people writing the history books, well then, or it turns out Orwell was correct. Those who control the past control the future, and the left wants to control the past. And so when Gina says that before the stormtroopers came and dragged away Jews and gypsies and gay people and other things like that, before that happened, first their neighbors had to turn on them. When she pointed that down, she was drawing a comparison between the political left, and she didn't use the word Democrat, she didn't use the word leftism or communism or socialism. She didn't use any of that. She just said, I'm noticing that there are people who want us to turn on each other. And she didn't even mention who they were. She didn't mention by name, by party affiliation, by political ideology. She just said, I've noticed this. And the people who knew they were guilty, this is the interesting thing. The people who knew they were guilty of all they want to do, all they want is weak women, weak men, and division. That's all they want, and poverty, because that's where you get your votes from. If you're a Democrat, the Democrats are run by super rich people and poor people. And the interesting thing is, super rich people don't give you enough votes to win anything. You need as much poverty as possible because those are your votes. That's how you win elections, by telling everyone, oh my God, you live in Nazi Germany. If you don't vote for us, and if you don't vote for us, you're going to continue to live in Nazi Germany. So then you vote for Democrats, and what do you get? You get actual Nazi Germany. So she had to be canceled because she was using her brain. She was using her critical thinking skills. And like I said, she mentioned nobody. She just said, I'm noticing this. And they knew who, and isn't it interesting? The people who wanted to cancel her, they knew who she was talking about. And people on the right and people in the center, we all knew who she was talking about. She wasn't talking about the political right or the centrists. They're not asking that we all that we go after each other's, we go after our neighbors. The people on the right and the center are not saying, you need to go turn in your neighbor, call the government authorities, and destroy the life of your neighbor. That's coming from the left. And without even saying anything as brutal as I'm saying, she made it clear that she knows what's going on, and rational people know what's going on. It's the stupid people who are into self-deception, who are living in some sort of faux reality. Those people are, for some reason, not intellectually capable of putting two and two together. So that was today's video. I want to thank you for stopping by, And don't worry, you're immune from coronavirus 21. It's the bad people who aren't. Take care. Bye bye.